Where a bombshell from both Kenya's National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi and the Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria have raised the red flag over the stalled process of replacing the Electoral Commission members. Muturi has pointed an accusing finger at the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the National Treasury for paralyzing the electoral reforms process, even after President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the necessary legislation to push it forward. But as KTN senior political reporter Duncan Khaemba reports, the Gatundu South MP has said that Kenya may be forced to go to the next general election with the current IEBC commissioners.
In his statement to the media from Iran's capital Tehran, Speaker of the National Assembly Justin Muturi has absolved Parliament from any blame with regard to the seemingly now half-dead process for removal of IEBC commissioners from office. Muturi says despite the process having been agreed upon out of political goodwill, there are no offers from the National Treasury, coupled with loud silence by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to facilitate execution of the agreement by current occupiers to vacate office. This essentially implies it is the Sara Serem-led commission which could be derailing the exercise, since it's the body expected to give figures of send-off packages for the commissioners in order to enable Treasury process the amount. Muturi adds that whereas the President signed the bill into law and was published on 20th September 2016, the Act will only be operational from 4th October, this being 14 days from the publication date as per the Constitution. That is when Parliament will forward its 4 nominees for the IEBC selection panel and offer secretarial services to the panel as required by law. However, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria, who was a member of the Select Committee and an insider in the ruling Jubilee administration, says the only way to guard the IEBC reform process is by supporting a proposal for the same committee to be given fresh mandate to oversee full implementation of the report.
I see a very, sort of delicate scenario, timelines which are very close to each other. Within 30 days of the effective date, we have to start the mechanism for special audit of the register that we agreed on. That means that we have to appoint a consultant who is going to lead that process. We said that because of the short time window to procure some of the critical IT infrastructure, we need to have a broad-based committee.
Kuria claims it is evident that certain forces within House committees were not comfortable with the extension of the JPSC to oversee implementation of their report, and what Speaker Muturi is complaining about is only a tip of the iceberg.
It is whose mandate is to deal with matters elections or matters IEBC. They were sort of protective of their staff.
Minus the appointment of the panel, minus a negotiated exit of the IEBC commissioners, which was to happen 14 days from the adoption of the report. Then there is no movement. So there is already a plot to sabotage. Senator Kiraitu sat into these commitments. These commitments were shared with Uhuru Kenyatta and his co-principal. These commitments were shared to Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Moses Wetangula. This was a political concurrence. You cannot purport to renege on it. This is not one of your official state functions. This is a concurrence or an agreement that you must leave by the tenant and the timelines that were agreed upon on a gentleman and gentlewoman's agreement.
According to Kuria, the worst nightmare will happen next Friday, 30th September, when a commission should be in place.
I think the most critical one is even 4 days from today, that we put in that law that we have to have IEBC new commissioners by 30th of September, or there is no new IEBC. So as a country, that's a big elephant in the room. Because we said if you don't have an IEBC by 30th of September, then the current IEBC should conduct the elections. And that's a big elephant in the room which we should not fear talking about, and it should come out. Then from there, within 30 days of having a new commission, or effective date rather, we appoint now the special auditor for the purposes of the auditing the register. Now from there, then we need to have this broad-based committee within the same 30 days that is going to lead the process of procurement. That leads us to somewhere in the region of 5th of November. And then they have to work overnight to procure equipment, especially EVID, the electronic voter identification, which we all agreed even within the committee that we don't have an EVID. But then we said, rather than just procure EVID, we are going to procure EVID, which is EVID integrated with BVR and also resource transmission system. Then from there, the biggest test comes in the mass voter registration. According to the IEBC timetable, this is settled for February. But we had a feeling that this could be brought forward to December, which now, as we speak, is an impossibility.
Religious leaders nominated to the IEBC selection panel are Professor Abdul Gafur El Busaidi of SUPKEM, Canon Reverend Peter Karanja for NCCK. The Catholic have nominated Bernadetta Musundi, with the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya settling on Bishop Dr. David Oginde, while the Hindu Council of Kenya will be represented by Ravinda Bamal. From the look of things, unless Parliament convenes an urgent sitting before 30th of this month to review timelines of having new IEBC commissioners in office, then the idea of having a new team conduct next year's general election could be as good as dead. Duncan Khaemba for KTN News, Nairobi.